Hello, good afternoon. Last class we were talking about the compatibility of blood transfusion, within the ABO blood group. Um, but I haven't really tell you what happens if there is a mismatch. Yeah, so let's start with that today. So here is a slide in the PowerPoint notes, and let's just go through the information here. For the top here, we have a donor that is type A blood. And we are donating blood to another type A person. So that obviously is okay. You can always donate within your own blood group, right? But let's take a closer look at the reason behind it. So for a donor with type A blood, on the surface of the red cell, that's what this thing is, you will have the A antigen. So instead of using the letter A, on the surface of cell, they decided to use shape to represent this. So these little spheres that you see, those are antigen A. And if you're giving the blood to another type A person, that person is going to have anti-B antibody, right? Remember, you are always going to have antibodies that target things that you don't have. So if you're type A, you will be making anti-B antibody. So are they going to react with each other? They're not, okay? Because anti-B will only recognize B. You can see the little arms here at the end. They will not fit the little circles. So there will be no binding. There will be no cross reaction, and therefore it is a safe transfusion. At the bottom here, we are taking type A blood and we are giving it to a type B person. So on the surface of the donor's red cell, you will have these A antigens, right? Which are once again represented by the little spheres here. And you're giving it to a type B recipient. In a type B person, they will have anti-A antibodies. So you can see the antibodies have these round little ants here. They will bind to the circles, and it will lead to what we call a cross reaction. A cross reaction occurs when antibodies bind to antigens on RBC. Right? So this cross reaction is going to cause your blood to clump together like this. Okay? The fancy word for clumping is agglutination. Once the red cells clump together, they will break apart and die. So this is hemolysis. Hemolysis. RBC bursts, basically, and die.
Vincent, so
Yep.
this clumping and hemolysis is when the bloods do not match, right? Like when AB gives blood, when type A gives blood to type B, right?
That's right. So whenever there's a mismatch between the donor's blood and the
The
recipient's blood,
recipient.
you're
Okay.
gonna have this situation, right? And
Okay.
it could potentially be lethal. It could potentially kill the person.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Excuse me, means these antibodies where these antibodies come from,
Yeah. So the antibodies over here, for example, these antibodies are in the recipient. It's plasma. Right? Remember when you separate blood, you have the cells at the bottom and then you have the plasma at the top. The plasma is where you will find the antibody. So it's already in the blood, basically. Okay. So no clumping is a good thing. That means you have compatible blood types. Clumping, no good. All right, strap yourself in. We are going to be taking a very long note. Probably gonna take like at least half an hour. So here we go. Oh, I should show you the slide first, I guess. The next thing we're going to be learning about is the RH blood group. We already know about ABO, right? So the next blood group is RH. Remember, ABO, RH are not the only thing that are found on the surface of red cells, right? You have other things as well, but we will only be focusing on the ABO as well as the RH blood group. RH stands for rhesus because the blood group was first identified in this type of monkey. The name of the monkey is rhesus monkey, okay? So we named the blood group after the monkeys that we found them in. So this is difficult, okay? And a lot of concepts. So stop me if I am not making sense. RH blood group. Okay, so there are two alleles for the RH blood group. I just want to double check. Do you guys remember how many alleles for ABO blood group?
3.
Yeah, exactly, 3, right? But this one only has 2. Okay? So it's either positive RH positive allele or RH negative allele. Remember, allele is different version of a gene, right? So RH positive allele allows RH proteins, you can say proteins, to be created and put on RBC. So there are 3 possible genotypes. You can be positive. That means you have 2 copies of the RH positive allele. Then the person is going to have the red cells and they will have RH on them. This is called positive blood. Leave some space here, and then we're going to do the third case first. Negative. That means the person have 2 copies of the RH negative alleles. They cannot make the RH protein. No RH protein on the surface. Negative. Okay. What if the person is positive/negative? What if they have 1 copy of the positive allele and 1 copy of the negative allele? Do you think they will have RH on the surface? What do you think? Will there be RH on the RBC?
Yes.
Yeah, because if you have 1 copy of RH, then you will be able to make the protein. Then therefore you will have it. Again, it's not like you have 2 copies, then you are more positive. It doesn't work like that. If you can make it, then you are considered as positive. Think of these as like cookie cutters. If I give you a star cookie cutters, then you can make star cookies. It doesn't matter if I give you 1 or give you 2. If you have the cutters, you can make it, right? So it doesn't matter if you have 2 alleles or 1 allele for the RH. If it's positive, then it's positive. So both of these are going to be giving you positive blood type, and then negative means you don't have it. So last time I asked you guys, what your blood types is. And many of you tell me, oh, you're A positive, you are B negative, right? So let's see what that means. Right? So draw example. Draw the RBC for each blood type. Let's say we have a positive person. A positive person. What does A positive mean? Well, here is our red blood cell. And if it's A positive, then we will have A on the surface, and we will have RH. So this is actually two blood groups, ABO and RH. Let's draw another one. Why don't we draw B negative? What would the B negative RBC look like? What's going to be on the surface? Okay, let's do the alphabet first, okay? What's going to be on the surface? A, B, O. Which one is it?
B.
Yeah.
Antigen.
There's going to be B antigen, yeah. Any RH?
No.
No, because the person is negative, right? That's it. What if the person is O positive? Okay, so draw O positive and then draw AB positive. I'm gonna give you a minute to try that. Okay, O positive, what is on O positive?
Small I.
Small I is not a thing, right? Small I is the allele, and small I means you don't make anything, right? So for someone who is type O, do they have A or do they have B?
None of them.
None of them.
That's right, no A and no B. So in that regard, it's just going to be empty. But the person is positive, which means there will be RH. Right? And then for AB positive, what do we have for AB positive? There's going to be A, there's going to be, and then there will also be RH. Right? That's all. Are we comfortable with the meaning of these blood types? Like ABO and RH together and what they look like? If you have a question, you need to ask now. It's only going to get more complicated.
Professor, I did not understand why O plus has not any type of O.
Yeah,
Just
so what is O? O is the absence of A and B, right? If you have A on the surface, then it's type A blood. If you have B, then it's type B blood. If you have both, then it's AB. And if you have none, then it's type O. Right? So the meaning of type O is the absence of A and B. Is that better?
Yeah, but the RH is what is the difference between RH and A and O?
Okay.
This is not different topic.
It's different topic because wait, did you miss the beginning stuff or were you here?
No, I did not miss.
Okay.
Sorry, didn't.
No, that's okay. So like, you know, ABO is one blood group and then RH is another blood group, right? They are separate. But then when we say we are A positive, we are talking about two blood group at the same time. Right? So O means no A, no B. So that's done. But then positive, what does positive mean? Positive means that there will be RH.
Okay, for
So
example, Professor, for me is O plus, so I have just RH.
just RH on the RBC, that's right. No A and no B.
Okay.
Right? What if someone is O negative?
Yeah, my mom has O negative.
Right. So what does it mean? What's on it?
No RH.
No RH and no A and no B, right? Does that make
Nothing?
sense? Nothing. That's right. No AB, no O. No A, no B, no RH, right?
No, I. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, yeah. But remember, there are many other blood antigens that we haven't talked about, right? Remember, I gave you a whole list on Wikipedia last time? So even though the person might not have A, B, or RH, they might have some of the other stuff. Okay? There's like a total of like 40 different ones, right? We can check back on the previous
Uh,
slide to see it.
Professor, for example, those who have O negative, for example, for my mother,
Mhm.
it was O negative, but it was very different for bring the child in the
It's very
future.
it's very different
Yeah.
for what? I'm sorry?
For example, bringing a child with abnormality, but they should be under uh, on how to say. For example, the doctor always should visit them because they have a
Or
negative O.
like a rare blood type, you mean? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah, so like
Yes.
O negative is I'll talk about transfusion in a bit, but O can only receive from other O, right?
Mm,
Right? Remember last class we talked about blood transfusion?
okay.
Yeah, like this. Right. So if you're type O, you can only receive from other type O blood. And as you will see, if you're negative, you can only receive from negative. So that makes your options for blood, like receiving blood from other people, it makes it more limited, right?
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Professor.
Yeah. Any other questions? Okay. So here's another example. Sorry. Here's another concept. People with RH negative blood can donate to RH negative and RH positive people. But RH positive people can only donate to RH negative, to RH positive people. Okay? So it's like this. RH negative can give to RH positive and themselves, but positive cannot give to negative. Why is that? Well, if a person is RH positive, it's like this, right? And then this is going to be a person who is RH negative. Who's going to be making the antibodies? Who's going to be making anti-RH antibody? The positive person or the negative person?
Negative?
That's right. You make antibodies for things you don't have. So if you are RH negative, then you can make anti-RH antibody. So I'm going to make a note here. RH negative people has the potential. Okay, this is a key word, okay? Which I'll explain. Has the potential to make anti-RH antibodies. Okay, so of course, if there are anti-RH antibodies, it's gonna cross-react with the RH positive blood and cause agglutination and hemolysis. Okay. Any questions? Okay, give me a second. I just need to open the study guide and copy a question over. If you have the study guide, please go to question number 7. Question number 7. Okay, there it is. So this table is related to who can donate to who and who can you receive from. I'll do a few examples with you. Let's say the person is A positive. Who can you receive from? Who can A positive receive from? So again, think about the donation chart. Who can type A receive from? Well, type A can receive from other type A, right? Who else can they receive from?
O.
Yeah, they can also receive from O. So that's within the ABO blood group. But this person is positive. So positive can, if you take a look here, positive can receive from positive as well as negative. So that means A positive can receive from A positive, O positive, as well as A negative and O negative. Okay. Positive people can receive from other positives as well as negatives. Because negative has nothing on it, right? They don't have anything on the RBC. They don't have the RH on the RBC. So I'm not going to react against nothing. Now, who can you donate to? Well, follow the ABO chart. A can donate to other A's, and A can also donate to AB, right? The person is positive, so you can only donate to other positives. Try the next 2 rows yourself. I'll take it up with you in a bit. If you have questions, please let me know. Okay, anybody want to share their answers for B positive? Who can they receive from?
From B plus.
Yeah. What else?
O.
O what?
O. O plus.
Good. Anything else?
A
B negative and O negative.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. Okay. And who can we donate to?
B positive, AB positive.
That's right. B positive and AB positive. Very good. Okay, try the next one. Who can AB positive receive from?
A positive, B
Positive, B positive,
AB
O positive, AB positive. Yeah.
Yeah,
positive.
everybody, right? Everybody. So if you're AB positive, then congratulations. You can receive from many people. I'm AB positive. Right? And who can you donate to?
AB
AB,
positive.
AB positive. Yeah.
Just positive, right? Make sense? All right. I'm gonna do a negative as an example, and then we're gonna move on. The answer's in the study guide answer anyways, okay? So AB negative can receive from, also everybody, but the negative can only receive from negative. And if you're AB negative, you can donate to AB negative and AB positive. That's all. Any questions? Okay, we should also do number 8 here. We have the donors on the left side here, and then we have the recipient here. So basically, I'm asking you, A plus to A plus, is this safe? Well, of course it's safe because it's the same blood type, right? So what about A plus to AB negative? Okay, take a
Not
moment. Yeah,
Not safe.
right, it's not safe. But take a moment and finish the whole thing. 2 minutes, okay? And then we'll take it up. Okay, that's the answer. Is there any particular one that you want me to explain? Just let me know, and I'll tell you why. Everything's fine? You sure? Okay, so moving on. Now let's go back to here. Is it to this this note right here? Okay, for people who are Rh negative, I wrote they have the potential to make anti-Rh antibodies. Okay, so listen. For the ABO blood group, we learned last time. If a person is type B, for example, they will make anti-A antibody, right? Type B person will make anti-A antibodies. For all intents and purposes, the person is pretty much born with the anti-A antibodies. If they're type B, they will be born with anti-A antibodies. If they're type A, they will be born with type B antibodies. That part is hopefully not too difficult to understand. But it's different for Rh. Even if the person is Rh negative, they are not automatically born with anti-Rh antibodies. It's the same thing as like diseases, right? Say chickenpox again. A person is not born with anti-chickenpox antibodies. Then how does a person make anti-chickenpox antibodies? What needs to happen first?
They need to get chickenpox.
That's right. They need to get exposed to chickenpox, right? Or they get vaccinated, right? Which is also kind of like an exposure to like a harmless version of chickenpox. But the point is they need to get exposed before their body starts to make the antibody, right? And that is the situation for Rh. Okay. For APO, it's okay. You're born with it. But for Rh, it works much like diseases, right? So let me give you a note. Rh sensitization. Okay, this is a very long explanation, okay? So hang in tight. And a Rh negative individual can only, we can say will only make anti-Rh antibodies after they are exposed to Rh positive blood. Once exposed, the person is sensitized. And their body starts to produce anti-Rh antibodies. Okay, copy that down first. I will explain more. So here's the question. Methods of sensitization. Okay, we'll look at two ways why a person would be exposed to positive blood. Maybe you can help me out. Why? If I'm a negative person, why would I get exposed to positive blood? What's the reason? Don't think too hard, just like normal things.
A fetus with her mom or his mom.
Oh, okay, yeah. So like Rh negative mother carrying Rh positive baby. Okay. That's possible. And I'll explain more on how that can happen. But there's another like more common reason, straightforward reason. Anybody know why that might be the case?
Blood transfusion.
That's right, blood transfusion. Now listen carefully, huh? Every negative person actually can have one free exposure to Rh positive blood. if I had not been exposed to positive blood previously, then I don't have anti-RH antibodies in my system. And so I can receive positive blood once. Make sense? Once that happened, then I won't be able to do it for a second time. If I get it for a second time in the future, it won't work because I already produced the antibodies, right?
Oh, Vincent, is this for the people, for the RH positive people?
For negative people, only negative people can get sensitized, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let me
Yes.
write down. Only RH negative people can get sensitized. Sorry, maybe I misunderstood your question. Can you ask again?
Yeah. The explanation, like, are you talking about RH negative people getting positive blood?
Yes.
Okay.
Here, I'll write down RH positive blood given to RH negative person. Okay, so like if it's a man coming into the emergency hospital, into the emergency department at the hospital, you know, he need blood like now. What are we gonna give them? Well, you can give them O positive. Okay, that's okay. Right? They usually save the O negative for the females. Okay, females of reproductive age. That's what they say. Okay. Older females, if they pass reproductive age, although that's a little bit hard to gauge, but sometimes like you just know, right? Like if you look at a person and then she's like older, like I don't know how to put this properly. I don't mean to be disrespectful, but like, you know, when it's older, like grandmother's age, for example, right? Then obviously they're not gonna have kids anymore. Then it's okay to give them O positive as well. Okay. Because again, you can like sensitize negative people once, right? And for men, it's okay. Even if you sensitize them, that's okay because they're not going to have a baby, right? They're not going to have this situation that I'm about to show you. But does everybody understand why it only works once and not twice?
Yes. But Vincent, so they would have to ask the person if he has gotten a blood transfusion before.
See, you don't know, right? You can't. Sometimes you cannot ask the person. The person is unconscious, right? Okay. And sometimes even if they said I receive a blood transfusion, they might not know what kind of blood they are receiving, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So
So like we don't know. So
if
sometimes
they give them the O positive blood and they are resource negative.
say that one more time. I miss it. Sorry.
So I said if in that emergency situation now they give the male the O positive blood and is a resource negative person.
That's right. So like, you know, if instead of an O negative, because they tend to reserve the O negative for like younger females.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Professor, I have a question.
Sure. Yeah.
I didn't get it. Why for the second time is not work the
Sure. Okay. So like I let's say I'm negative. I never got exposed before. Do I have antibodies in me for RH?
No.
No, right?
Yeah.
I do not have antibodies to attack the RH positive cells, right? So that's okay. I can receive it. However, as soon as I receive the positive, my immune system will recognize the positive as something out of my body, something foreign. And then I become sensitized. And then I will start making anti-RH antibodies. Those antibodies will stay in my body for the rest of my life.
Okay.
Just like the chicken pox antibody will stay in your body for the rest of your life, right? You won't get chicken pox again, right? So next time I receive positive blood, my antibody will attack them. It will result in the clumping and the hemolysis that we talked about at the beginning. Better?
Yes, I
Vincent,
got it. Thank you.
so I have a question. Initially, when like labs determine the patient, the blood group, how they know it is RH positive or negative?
Excellent question. Hold that thought. I'm going to answer that in about half an hour. Okay. I have a slide coming up. Okay. So like, you know, if it's like a planned thing, right? Like if a person is going to have surgery, if it's not emergency, then you're going to figure all this out, right? You're not just going to randomly give them O positive or O negative and hope for the best, right? Like you actually have to do what's called blood typing to find out, which we will learn in a bit. Okay. So back to this. sensitization, right? It could be the blood transfusion, and it could be Rh mother carrying an Rh positive baby. I'm going to talk about this thing, okay, in great details. So here we go. Let's just say we have a mother. Let's just say woman, okay, whatever, woman. Woman is, let's just say she is negative, okay, Rh negative. So she's negative in terms of genotype. The man is Rh positive. Now I know Rh positive can be like positive or positive negative, right? But to keep things simple, I'm just gonna put positive. Now, if you do the Punnett square for this situation, like positive, negative, then what can you say about the kid? What's the Rh status of the child?
Positive.
Is it guaranteed?
50-50.
Yes.
It's guaranteed. Look, it's 100%, right? So the baby will be 100% Rh positive, right? Heterozygous, but nevertheless positive. All right. So here we go. We have the mother's blood here. This is the mother's blood. And the mother is Rh negative, so her red cell will just be red cells with no Rh. Never mind the ABO. We are focusing on the Rh right now. This is going to be the baby's blood down here. Baby's blood. Fetus's blood, okay? Baby's blood. Baby is Rh positive because of the father. So that's going to be Rh. What's the thing that separates the mother from the baby? What structure separates the mother from the baby?
Placenta.
Yes. Okay. So, sometimes during pregnancy, it's possible for the placenta to be damaged. There might be some tear in the placenta. When that happens, the baby's blood is going to go into the mother's blood. Otherwise, the placenta keeps the two bloodstreams separate. Only if there's a damage to the placenta, then the blood starts to get mixed. Okay. It's also possible that during labor, the placenta might get damaged, and then the baby's blood goes into the mother's blood. Okay, so if the placenta is damaged, e.g. during labor, the baby Rh positive RBCs will enter the mother's blood. Okay, so these positive cells are going to go into the mother's blood. And the mother is now, what's the word I'm looking for? The mother is now,
Sensitized.
yeah, sensitized, right? Okay. What does it mean? It means she will start to make anti-Rh antibodies. Okay. The mother is now sensitized. She will make anti-Rh antibodies. Now, is that going to be a problem for the baby?
Yes.
Yeah? If it happens during labor, okay? Happens during labor. You think it's going to be a problem for the baby?
No, because
not?
he's already finished his time.
Yeah, the baby's already out, right? Like when we make antibodies, it's not like, you know, like an instantaneous process, right? The process of making antibodies takes, you know, a week sometimes, right? Think about last time you got sick, from COVID or whatever, right? Like it takes you a good week before you start feeling better, right? That's how long it takes for your body to make the antibodies for the COVID. Similarly, it takes a long time for your body to make antibodies against Rh. Okay, so someone asked what happens if the mother is sensitized. Again, once sensitized, the mother's body will start to make anti-Rh antibodies. Okay, that's what it means. She will make anti-Rh antibodies, but it's not going to be a problem for the first baby because by the time the mother has the antibodies, the baby is already delivered, right? Okay, so I'm going to go over here. The mother's body, like her immune system to be more accurate, the mother's body will make anti-Rh antibodies. But by the time these are made, the baby is already delivered. Okay, and it's gonna be okay. Like unless it happens prior to labor, like sometimes during the pregnancy, if it happens, then you know it's gonna be a different story. You know, let's keep it simple.
Vincent, so that means if she has a second child and something happens and the child is RH
Yeah,
negative.
we're gonna talk about it right now. Yeah. So yeah, very good. Okay. Any question about the first pregnancy? Anything about on the screen that you want me to explain before I talk about the second pregnancy? Okay. So second pregnancy. Second pregnancy. Now, assuming she has another kid with the same man, okay? Which means the baby is going to be 100% Rh positive again, right? So let's redraw the situation. This is the mother's blood. She's Rh negative, so like that. What else should I draw now? There's some extra thing that weren't there before in the first pregnancy, but now they're there. What extra things do I need to include?
Anti-RH antibody.
Exactly right. She was sensitized previously, and she now has anti-Rh antibodies. It wasn't there before. You only make them after you get exposed. Right, so these are anti-Rh antibodies from previous pregnancy, right? And it's going to be there for life. And then we have the baby's blood. Baby's blood. And the baby is Rh positive because the dad is like positive, right? Homozygous positive. And, you know, again, the placenta is going to separate the blood. What the placenta does not separate are the antibodies. So these antibodies, they will cross the placenta and go into the baby's bloodstream. They will cross-react with the baby's RBC, and it will attack them. So anti-Rh antibodies from the mother cross the placenta and attack the baby's Rh positive RBC. And then the red cells will die, right? Hemolysis. The stuff we talked about at the beginning of class today. There's going to be cross reaction. It's going to be clumping or agglutination. And then hemolysis. It's bad news for the baby. Okay? I'll tell you more about the symptoms and stuff like that. But in terms of the theory, do you understand why this is happening? Now, I'm gonna backtrack a little bit, okay? Earlier, I said we don't care if we give the men O positive blood. Right? If they need blood and we don't have time to test, O positive. Right? We can sensitize them. It's okay. They're not gonna have kids. But women of reproductive age or younger, and they need blood, emergency blood, we're gonna give them O negative, right? We're gonna give them O negative because we don't want to sensitize them. Right? We don't know if the person is positive or negative, but they need blood. We're gonna give them O negative. Right? If we give them O positive instead, then we risk sensitizing the person. Then it would have been a problem for even the first pregnancy. Do you understand that? Right? Like if you give them our O positive blood and it turns out the person is negative, then we sensitize them before her first pregnancy. Then by the time they got pregnant, what would have happened in the second pregnancy is now happening in the first pregnancy. Do you guys understand that?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Did I answer your question? Was it Eminette that you were saying something about
Yes.
second? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. Let's go back to the PowerPoints for a second.
So, Vincent, what happens to baby when this happens?
Yeah, I'm gonna show you in the slide right now. Okay. So this is professional drawing. It's basically the same thing we drew. You can study it yourself. Okay. They use these little triangle to represent the RH, but it's the same kind of information I'm trying to convey to you. And so like hemorrhaging at delivery, that basically means bleeding. Placenta was damaged. The baby's blood go in, and then we have problem for the second pregnancy. So when the when the antibodies from the mother goes into the baby bloodstream and attack the baby cells, it results in a lot of red cells dying in the baby's body. And this creates a condition, like a group of condition that is collectively known as hemolytic disease of the newborn. Okay. Hemolytic means like the red cells are bursting. It's basically hemolysis, but like, you know, in the form of an adjective, right? So hemolytic disease of the newborn, HDN for short, or there's like a fancy name for it, okay? Erythroblastosis fetalis. Doesn't really matter, okay? But hemolytic disease of a newborn. So the symptoms, severities are going to vary depending on the kind of mismatch that we have. Okay, so RH is not the only blood group out there, right? I keep on telling you. There's all the other stuff that could cause mismatch. So some will produce more severe symptoms than others. RH mismatch produce quite severe symptoms, okay? And the symptoms include anemia in the baby, which is not surprising. When you lose a lot of red cells, you become anemic. I told you that last class. Jaundice. Okay, jaundice is when you build up these bilirubin, right? Okay. Bilirubin builds up in the body. Okay. Bilirubin is a byproduct that you get when you break down hemoglobin. So a lot of the red cells are dying in the baby. A lot of hemoglobins are coming out. When their body try to break down these hemoglobin, they generate a lot of bilirubin, much more than they can get rid of. So the bilirubin starts to accumulate in the body, shows up in the skin. They look yellowish, jaundice. They also have enlarged liver and spleen, because the liver and the spleen is where you break down red cells. Right? So all these red cells that are dying, they get trapped in the liver and the spleen. The spleen, liver, they're working extra hard. They become enlarged. Next, severe edema. Edema is like accumulation of fluid in tissue. Okay. Remember, what's keeping the fluid in your blood is the osmotic pressure that I taught you last week. What contributes to the osmotic pressure? Sure, there is the albumin plasma protein, but there are also the cells that add to the concentration of the blood, right? And now we're losing a lot of the cells, right? These red cells makes up 45% of our total blood volume. So when the red cells are dying, then there is not much to hold the fluid inside the blood. And then the blood pressure will push it out, and then there's like swelling everywhere. That's like the worst case scenario, right? But then, like I said, the disease severity is going to vary.
Vincent, so this only happens if the placenta gets damaged, right? So if it's not damaged, no problem.
That's right. Okay.
Okay.
But yeah, like I mean, I'm sure a lot of people know, like giving birth is a difficult process, and somewhat traumatizing on many levels, and it's almost inevitable that there will be some kind of damage, right, or bleeding that occurs, right? Okay.
Okay,
So
at what point is it during marriage that you check the compatibility of your partner? Like how do you now prevent the
yeah, I'm gonna tell you. Don't worry. Yeah, very
Okay.
good questions. Okay, so like yeah, and I think there's another question in the chat asking similar things. Okay, I'm gonna get to that in a second. Okay, but first, I want to emphasize this is not a problem that's unique with RH, right? Many blood groups and blood antigens that we have to consider. ABO mismatch can also cause this. Okay, these are my kids, right? My two daughters, and I am AB positive. My wife is what's my wife? So hold on, give me a second. She's O positive. Yeah, she's O positive, and my girls, they are both B positive. Okay, they are both B positive. All right. So tell me, what kind of antibodies does my wife have in terms of ABO? What does she have? This is me, okay? This is my wife. What kind of antibodies does she have if she's type O? Really? Have you guys done nothing from me? Oh my goodness. Type O person. What kind of antibodies do they make?
She doesn't have antibodies.
No, she does. She does. If she's O, if she's type O. I'm not talking about RH, right? I'm talking about ABO, right?
Oh.
Yeah, Fatima, what is it? Anti...
A and B.
That's right. She has anti-A and anti-B, right? Does that make sense? Because you make antibodies
Yes.
against things that you don't have, right? Okay. So that's what she has. Okay. And ABO antibodies does not require exposure, right? The person already has it by default. Okay. So what happened was some of her anti-B antibody crossed the placenta, and it was attacking the baby's B blood. Okay. As a result of that, both of them were jaundice when they were born. Now, it's not super severe as to what happens in RH. RH is like way worse, okay? But, in this case, it's just very jaundice. Okay, so like my first daughter, she was jaundice, and to make things worse, the remedy for jaundice is you gotta feed the baby a lot, and then hydrate the baby so that the baby can pee more and pee out the excess bilirubin, right? But any of you who's a mother probably knows the breast milk is not always available immediately after you give birth. Okay, like there might not be enough milk until I don't know, like a week's in or something like that, right? So at the time, my wife was not producing enough milk to feed the baby, and then the hospital insists on breastfeeding. In Canada, breastfeeding is a big thing apparently. Okay, so then we keep trying. She kept trying, but then it's just not enough milk. So the bilirubin got keep on building up and building up, right? Because the baby didn't have a chance to flush it out. So anyway, I was really concerned, and I called my mom and told her what happened. And then my mom was like, "Oh, you were like that too," as in like me, right? Like I was born really jaundiced. Like, don't listen to the doctors. Just give the kid some formulas, right? Like, you grew up on formula and you're fine, right? So anyway, afterwards, we did that. We bought some formula. The kid was super hungry because we weren't feeding her, right? Basically. And then she stuck down all these formulas, and she was able to pee a lot. And then the bilirubin got lowered, and she was back to normal. Now another way to deal with the bilirubin is to put them in this chamber. Does anybody know what this chamber is? Like this, purple light and stuff like that. Any?
Phototherapy?
Yeah, this is phototherapy, okay? It's basically UV light. The UV light helps break down the bilirubin, okay? And once it's broken down on the skin, then your body will be able to get rid of it as well, okay? So we had to put them in these chambers, right? So after the first kid, we thought we got this. We are very experienced now, and we were very prepared for the second child. For the second child, we brought a whole case of formula. We brought it to the hospital, and then was waiting for her to born. And then afterwards, we feed her immediately. But the complication was the second child, she didn't want to come out. So when they don't come out, you have to kind of vacuum them out, right? And again, some of you might be familiar with this. So there's a little vacuum that they put on when you see the baby's head coming out. You can put the vacuum on them, and then you can help suck them out and pull them out. And what that does is the vacuum leaves behind like a really bruised area in the head, and the bruising further elevated the bilirubin content in the baby. So for the second one, like even though we were feeding her formula and stuff like that, she was in and out for the first 2 weeks just to get the phototherapy. Okay. So jaundice, again, it's just a situation where there's like a minor mismatch, but with severe mismatch, then you have all these extra complications, right? With the edema, with the anemia, and that require very specialized treatment, other than the phototherapy. The question is, does this happen to all AB plus and O positive? It potentially can happen, but I was told it's particularly high risk for Asians in general. Okay? I'm not sure why that is the case, but apparently it is. All right, back to our lecture notes. Someone was asking, like, how do we prevent this? Right? So we can prevent this by giving something called RhoGAM. If the mother is Rh negative, and you can easily find out if the mother is positive or negative, you can just do a blood test. Okay, you can find out, in minutes in some cases. If they're negative, then the doctor will recommend giving the RhoGAM to the mother. So what is RhoGAM? RhoGAM contains artificial anti-Rh antibodies. And the job of the RhoGAM is to prevent sensitization from happening. Okay? How does it happen? I'll draw it out for you. It's probably easier. So RhoGAM. Okay. Here is, again, the mother's blood. Let's go back to the first pregnancy. Okay. Go back in time and try to fix this problem. This is the mother's blood. And she's negative. And again, she's carrying a positive baby. So you would give the mother an injection of the RhoGAM. Right, so the RhoGAM is like this. Rh antibodies. These are man-made in the lab. Okay, stay with me. I know you probably have a question, okay, but stay with me. I will answer it in my explanation. Okay, so this is Rogan. Right, so now the mother has anti-Rh antibodies in her system. Let's say the placenta was damaged and the baby's blood goes into the mother. Okay, like that. The baby's blood goes into the mother. But because we gave the mother the RhoGAM is going to destroy all the positive cells before her immune system is activated. So RhoGAM destroy all Rh positive RBC before the mother's immune system is triggered. Right? So that's gonna prevent sensitization. Now you're probably thinking, this doesn't make sense. I thought we're trying to not make the antibodies. If you inject the mother with antibodies, wouldn't the antibody cross the placenta and end up doing the exact thing we're trying to prevent? Right? Well, that doesn't happen because the RhoGAM are man-made. It's made in the lab. Okay? So these are too big. They are designed to be bigger, too big to cross the placenta. So they will remain in the mother's body and not cross over to the baby. Does that make sense? So RhoGAM prevents sensitization. It does not cure it. If it already happened, like here, if it already happened, giving RhoGAM is not gonna solve the problem. It's not gonna reverse the problem. Okay, RhoGAM can only be given to people who haven't been sensitized, and it will prevent it from happening. Okay, so when do you give the RhoGAM? Well, you give the RhoGAM. Where are my slides? Oh, there we go. RhoGAM, you give them around 28 weeks of pregnancy and also after childbirth. Okay, those are apparently the time frame where if there's going to be some kind of damage, it's most likely to happen. So that's it. That's all the stuff with RH and RBC and stuff like that. Any last minute questions before we take a break?
Yes. So what happens if RH negative and RH negative, like the Punnett square, if the children are not 100% positive?
Sorry, one more time, please.
Okay. The Punnett square says 100% RH positive children.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying, what if it's not 100%? It's just, let's say 125%. Let's say
Oh, yeah. So like, in practice, they don't even care who the father is. Okay. Like they just look RH negative for the mother. They would just suggest RhoGAM as a precaution.
Okay.
Right. Because even if there's 25% chance, right, or like 50% chance, like any percent is too high, right? Basically. So you want to avoid it as much as possible. Okay.
I have a
Great.
question,
Sure.
Professor.
Yeah.
So, in all, for example, in Canada, so they will check and give this injection for mothers. For example, if one woman pregnant had a pregnancy, and they will check her blood type, and then they prescribe this.
That's right. Only if they are negative, though, right?
Yeah, if it's happened, they will do for everyone.
That's right. If it's negative, they would suggest you to take it. That's right.
Okay, yeah. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. You cannot give RhoGAM to positive mothers, right? Why not? Like what happens if you give RhoGAM to Rh positive mothers?
It's anti-RH and they might attack the red blood cells.
Yeah, they will attack the mother's red blood cell, right? Make sense? So you can only give it to negative people. You cannot give it to positive people. All right.
Professor, excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
The ROGAM will secure all the baby after first child, maybe 2, 3. They will not have any
Oh
problem.
yeah, so like if you get the ROGAM for the first pregnancy, and then you get pregnant again, then you will have to get the ROGAM. It's not like a lifetime protection. The antibodies, like this artificial one, it's different from the ones you make yourself. The ones you make, you get to keep forever for the rest of your life, right? But these are man-made, so it will break down after a while, right? And then you will need them again in the future, right?
So for each child, then the mother should get ROGAM.
I think so, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, based on my understanding. Yeah. Okay, so like yeah, someone was talking about like a shot, right? After the first child or something. Yeah, that's probably the injection, right? That we were talking about. Okay. Why don't we take a break? That was a lot of information. Our usual 5 minute. Okay. We'll come back and do more. See you in a bit. Okay, and we're back. Amanda, did you say you have a question for lecture 1? Go ahead, please.
Yes, yes.
Mhm.
Okay, so in the self quiz, there's a question that says at rest, the blood supplies what organ the most blood? So I didn't know the answer to that, and then I checked online and saw a couple of links that says the liver, but the answer in the question says the kidney. I'm kind of confused.
I I don't know what this says online, but I think the answer is kidney, because your
Kidney,
kidney
yes.
constantly filters the blood, right? It's as much as 1.2 liters of blood going through the kidneys every minute. So yeah, but don't worry about that. That question is not going to show up on the quiz.
Okay, okay.
Because it's not something we
Thank
talked
you.
about. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Moving on. Moving on. Blood typing. Right. So this is what blood typing looks like. If you want to find out the blood type of a person, you have to do something similar to this. I'll show you how to read this. Okay, so this is one person's sample, and these are whales. Okay, like little whale on a plastic dish, and in the dish, it is coated with antibodies. I need you to understand this part. The antibody is not from the person, okay? The antibody is already in the plate, in the plastic plate. Okay? So in the first plate, there would be anti-A antibody. And then in the second plate, there are anti-B antibody. And then anti-D means anti-RH. Okay. Like there's a reason it's called D, but whatever. Anti-RH, it's fine. So this is what happens. When you take the person's blood and then you put it to the first plate, and in the plate you have the anti-A antibody. You want to know if the antibody reacts with the blood. Looking at the result here, do you think there is a reaction? Like, is there a reaction here? Yes or no? Yes, reaction, no
Yes.
reaction. Yes, reaction.
Yes.
Right? Because of the clumping, right? So why would the antibody react with the blood? Well, the blood must have A on it, right? So that's how I know the person is, at least it's going to have an A. Like, I don't know if they're actually just A or like A, B. We don't know, but they definitely have an A. Now we take the blood and then we put it in the second well, and the second well has anti-B antibodies, and we see no reaction. How come the antibody does not react with the blood? Well, because there's no B on them, right? Antibodies will only react if you have the same letter. So it's just A. Then you take the blood and you put it in the third well, and the anti-RH reacted with the blood, and there's clumping. That means the person has RH. What do we call a person that has RH positive RH blood? We say positive. So the first one is A positive. Again, you have to understand these are not antibodies from the person. These are just antibodies that are already in the dish. We're just trying to see if the blood will react with them. Okay, let's do
I have
another
a
one.
question, Professor.
Sure.
So, this function to identify the person blood, whether it is A plus or B plus, yes?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So let's try the next one, right? No reaction with A. That means the person's blood does not have A. Yes reaction with B. That means the person has B. And then positive. Please try the next two and tell me what the blood types are.
Is AB positive?
Yes, AB positive, very good. And the last one,
O negative.
O negative.
O negative, that's it. Right? So that's how we know what the blood types are. Okay, done. Right, we have a bunch of questions here. Only 12 people here today, 11 of you actually. Let's see if we get better participation rate. Okay, very good. Everybody who answered got it right. The answer is D. Okay, you give it to Rh negative mother carrying positive baby. Go ahead. Anyone else? Now, I know you might be debating between B and C, right? But if you take a closer look, if the mother is negative and the father is negative, it's not possible for them to have a positive baby, right? So that's why the answer is just C. Okay? C is the answer. Not going to be a problem for positive mothers, right? Positive mother will never make anti-Rh antibodies. Okay, now this one we should do together. This one is very interesting. So let's go over here. Match the parents with their baby based on blood type. So there are 4 things you should remember for these questions. Okay, don't do the Punnett square. You do the Punnett square, you're gonna run out of time on the test. Okay, so 4 things to remember. I already told you 2 last class. Right? First thing to remember, AB person cannot have. What kind of kids can they not have?
O,
Oh, baby, that's right. And what's the second one?
all person cannot have AB baby.
That's right. Old person cannot have AB babies. If you don't know why, watch the recording from last class. Number 3, two old people, two old people. Sorry, English is not my first language. Two type O people can only have what kind of babies?
O.
That's right. Look, if you are type O, you are little I, little I. If your spouse is type O, they are little I as well. Then the whole family is little I, right? Whole family is O. Okay, I need one more. Can someone give me something? Something to do with RH.
RH negative and RH negative people cannot have RH positive babies.
Sure they can. If I'm RH negative and then the spouse is positive,
No,
then
I mean RH people, like two of them RH negative.
that's right. So two RH negative people can only have RH negative babies, right? You have to remember all these 4 things when you see a question like this, and you will see a question like this on the test. Okay. So let's see how we can apply this. Let's start with the first couple. First couple is the mother is AB. So automatically, which 2 babies can we reject?
K and M.
K and M, that's right. Those are not her kids. Don't take them home. So there are 2 more babies left, J and L. The mother is negative and the father is also negative. They can only have negative babies. So baby L is theirs. Right? Baby L is gone now. They found their parents. All right. So I am gonna move on to another parents, and usually I want to work with a couple that either has A, B, or O in it. It's easier to eliminate. So let's go with couple number 4. The father is O. That means I can reject J, right? Rule number 2, O cannot have A, B. So baby J is not there. Rule number 4, if they are both negative, then the baby must be negative. That means we're going to be taking baby M for couple number 4. That's done. 2 babies left. Let's see. Third couple, B plus, B plus. Well, neither of them has A in their genotype. It's impossible for them to have AB baby. So this would be K, baby K. And that means this is baby J. So you just use logic to try to get to the answer. Okay. I know you want more practice, don't you? So this is question 13, 11 rather, in the PowerPoint, in the, what do you call the thing? Study guide, right here. Okay, I'll give you a moment to do it. Why don't I put you guys in groups? Okay, maybe you guys want to talk to each other. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, I'll put you guys in like 4 groups or something. 4 groups, and then we'll come back in 3 minutes or something like that. Okay, go. Okay, so are we all back? Yeah, looks like it. All right, I hope you had a fruitful discussion. Let's quickly take this up. Let's start with this couple here, couple number 3. We can see couple number 3 has A, B mother, and O father. So immediately we can reject all these. AB cannot have O cannot have AB. So this is H. Okay, so that's done. Next one. This looks like a good one to work with. O negative, O negative. The only thing they can have is O negative. Next, we have couple 4. There's a O here. They cannot have AB, which means baby I. And that left J for the first couple. Right? So like using these 4 things, you should be able to get the answer relatively quickly. Certainly much quicker than if you were to use like a Punnett square, right? Any questions? Okay, I mean, there's another question for you to try in the study guide if you need to. Very quickly, which of the following is a safe transfusion? Just one of them is safe. Which one is it? Which one is safe? I only have 3 answers. Okay, last call. All right, let's take a look. A positive to B positive, nobody chose that one, so that's good. That one's not safe. A cannot be given to B, so that's not safe. B, O can be given to A. That's great. But then we also have to check the RH. Positive cannot be given to negative, right? Positive cannot give to negative. Okay, like we want to avoid generalization, avoid sensitization if possible. Okay, so this is not it. This is not safe. AB to B. AB cannot give to B because the B person has anti-A. This person has anti-A. It will attack the AB. Not safe. This is safe. Right? Think of the chart. A can give to AB. And negative can give to negative. That's safe. Last one. A can give to AB, but positive cannot give to negative. So the correct answer is just D. Okay, a lot of people get this one wrong. Do you know why the answer is D now? Any follow-up questions? All right. Last one. If you are doing the Punnett square, you are approaching this question the wrong way. you shouldn't be using the Punnett square. Okay, not looking too good, I gotta say. But that's okay. Let's try to explain this. The person is one of the parents is AB. What kind of blood type can they not have? Sorry, what kind of babies can they not have?
Oh,
Oh, so automatically I'm gonna cross out B and D, right? Which means all of the above is also not correct. What kind of babies can a old person not have, right? AB, right?
yes.
Yeah, so it's done.
But how can they have negative if they're both positive?
They might be heterozygous, right?
Ah, okay.
Right. So positive could be like positive, negative, positive, negative. Right?
Oh,
So the
okay.
answer
So
is
that's
C.
why we confused.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Okay,
now we
okay.
know. Okay, and now we know.
Okay.
All right. What antibodies could a negative person potentially produce? Okay, let's see. Last question. Okay, see if you can redeem yourself. A negative person. Okay, remember, you make antibodies for things you don't have. So if you are A, you're going to make anti-B. If you're negative, you potentially can make anti-RH. The answer is B. Okay, most of you got it right. Very good. And that's it for blood. Okay. The quiz is only lecture 1. You can worry about the blood stuff for the test later on. So now we're going to move on to the blood and the lymphatic system. So the lymphatic system is closely related to the immune system, which is the topic for next week. And there are a lot of lymphatic organs that are around the body. Like there's tonsils, there are lymph nodes, thymus, so on and so forth. We'll talk about these things later. But now I want to give you another note, okay?
Vincent, before we go, what does lymphatic mean?
What does lymphatic means?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hopefully will be able to answer that when we write a note, okay? Yeah, very good. All right. So again, I'm just helping you plan ahead. Ideally, you're gonna have the paper sideways. I'm gonna start drawing here, 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 and then I'm gonna go here, 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 and then eventually I'm gonna go back here. Okay, so make sure you have enough space. All right, so here we go. Now, this is gonna look familiar, and it's good because it will be part review and part part new. Right? Learning.
Professor. This
Yeah.
is the for the next week going to start, yes?
No. This
Oh.
we're gonna start now, but then I'm saying the lymphatic system is related to the immune
Oh.
system, and next week we're doing immune system.
Yeah, it's not related to the blood.
It's related to blood as well. Yeah, because your immune system is actually in the blood. That's where the white cells are, right? Yeah. Okay, so this is our lovely blood vessels, or capillary.
So Vincent, this part is not gonna come to our test quiz next week, right? This part.
Not just this part. The whole lecture 2 is not on.
Oh,
Yeah, only lecture 1 is on the quiz. Okay.
okay. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. I think I posted an announcement already, right? I think. Did I? Does anybody know?
Yes, you did. You
Oh,
did.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah. So only lecture 1, okay, and the number of questions and everything is all there. Okay, so we already know that there are like red cells here. Okay, there is probably some white cells as well, although they're not really common. So I'm just gonna draw a few of them. Okay, so these are WBC. These are RBC. Now it's not separated in the blood, but I'm gonna draw it as if they are separated to kind of show you a point, okay? Like obviously it's not yellow, right? Like the blood is red. We all know that. But what is this yellow stuff that I'm drawing? We learned this already. What do we call this yellow portion of the blood? And I purposely draw it so that it's like really long, okay? So you should do
The
that too.
plasma.
Yes, that's the plasma. That is the plasma. Very good. Okay, so we're gonna go plasma, which is the fluid portion of blood. Okay, mostly water with dissolved minerals and ions. There's a bunch of plasma proteins in it, like albumin, you might remember. We have like clotting factors like fibrinogen, prothrombin, so on and so forth. Okay. And you hopefully remember that there is a force that's pushing fluid out over here, right? And then the same force is also pushing it out on the other side, but with less intensity. What is this red arrow? What force is it representing?
Blood pressure.
Yes, that's good. Blood pressure. Sorry, I'm just gonna put BP here to save space. Okay, hopefully you're also using color to help make sense of this thing. And then you're gonna have the green arrow. What is the green arrow?
Osmotic pressure.
That's right. And that doesn't change, right? From one side to the other, right? So nothing is new so far. Everything same old, same old. Now we're gonna draw extra things. Like this is the capillary here, but like what's outside? Well, outside, previously we said it's tissue, right? Like, you know, could be like kidney tissue, liver tissue, muscle tissue, whatever the case happens to be. But in the tissue, you're gonna have a bunch of cells. So I'm gonna draw some cells here. Okay, and there's some space between cells in many cases. Okay. Sometimes they might be stuck together, sure, but then there is some space. It's very common to have space. So these are cells, okay? And draw a number of them. Okay. I know it's not very it's tedious, but then you know, just draw it. There we go. All right, so these are cells of tissue. I'm just gonna give you like a couple minutes. I mean, an extra minute to catch up with the drawing. And yeah. Okay, Do you remember what happens on the arterial side? Like, because blood pressure is bigger than osmotic pressure, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen?
Fluids goes into capillaries?
On this side,
Yes.
which one is bigger, the red or the green?
Oh, red one. Right?
Red
Yeah.
is bigger.
That's right. So you actually will be losing, right? Make sense? So
Yes.
all that fluid that's coming out, they will flood the space between the cells. They will flood the space between the cells. Okay. If you have a highlighter, it would be perfect. All right. So the fluid that's coming out is going to go fill up the space between the cells. Okay, this fluid has a name. And this fluid has a name. This is called the interstitial fluid. Okay. It is between cells of tissue.
Vincent, are this the liquid, the water portion of the plasma coming out?
Yes, is part of, yeah, the fluid portion of the blood is gonna come out. Now that's a good question. Like, is the interstitial fluid the same composition as the plasma? Like, are they made up of the same thing? Yeah, pretty much. But then the ratio is a little bit different, okay? And certainly the proteins will stay in the plasma. But everything else, you know, in terms of the ion and stuff like that, they tend to come out as well, okay? Now,
Vincent, is that because the protein molecules are big?
exactly, yeah. So
Okay.
some things are really big, they don't come out. The albumin is really big, they stay inside. And we don't want it to come out, because if they come out, then we start losing osmotic pressure, and that's going to be a problem, right? Now, over here, the fluid will eventually go back in, right? Because on the other side, on the venous side, the OP is bigger than BP, right? So you're gonna be able to take back some of it. But if you remember what we talked about last time, the numbers are not quite the same on arterial side and venous side. You actually end up losing more fluid than you were able to bring back in. Do you remember that? Right? Like on one side, it was 10 mmHg, but on the venous side, it's only 5 mmHg. So we don't bring back everything that we've lost. Right? Not, I need to make it thinner. Not able to return all the fluid. I'm just gonna put the number here to remind you. Over here, the difference in pressure triangle is different, okay? Difference in pressure is 10 mmHg. Over here, the difference in pressure is just what was it? 5, right? 5 mmHg. So you end up losing more than you were able to break in. And that's going to be a problem, because now you have all these fluid that's building up in the tissue. If we don't find a way to drain them, it's going to keep building up, and then the tissue swelled up. And you're going to have like edema, right? The word that we just learned from the before the break. EDEMA, edema. So what's the solution? Well, it turns out next to your capillaries, not very far away, you're gonna have another kind of vessel. Okay? Usually they draw it with the green color. They're not actually green, but then they usually draw it with green color. And this is called a lymphatic vessel. They're always close to the capillaries. And these extra fluid, they're gonna basically go into the lymphatic vessels. Okay. Now they don't actually change color, obviously, but I'm just using the different colors to show you. Right? So once they go into the lymphatic vessel, they have a different name now. We call them lymph. Okay, so Myriad, you asked me like what is lymphatic system? Lymphatic system is a system that basically transport lymph. And lymph is the fluid that you get when the interstitial fluid goes into the vessel, the lymphatic vessel. Okay. Story okay so far?
Vincent, is this happen? Does this happen like regularly?
Yeah, all the time, constantly.
Okay.
Okay, so in fact, we're gonna have another lymphatic vessel. Okay, also collecting lymph, right? Okay, I'm not gonna color it in, it's gonna take too long. We're gonna have to, oh, 1 second. I think the program has had too much. Okay, there, I think it's still working. Can you guys see that? It's still there, right? Let me see. Yep, looks like it's still good.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So then you're gonna have another lymphatic vessel coming from like another part of the body, and then you're gonna have another lymphatic vessel coming from another part of the body. Multiple lymphatic vessels are gonna come together and converge, okay? Join together in this big thing here. And this here is a lymph node. You probably have heard of a lymph node, right? Like if you have a sore throat or something, you go to the doctor, they feel your lymph node to see if it's swollen. Like they press on your neck a little bit, right? Like, does it hurt? They are feeling your lymph node. Okay? Lymph node, it's not just found in the neck. They also found in like, under the armpit, close to the groin, and in the legs as well, right? Those are the obvious ones. Okay. And then I'll tell you what the lymph node does in a bit. And then it will carry it back into circulation. Okay. So let me just write this out for you on the side. So we start with the blood, specifically the plasma, right? And then it's gonna come out and it will become the interstitial fluid, which is space between cells, tissue cells. We call this interstitial. Such a long name, fluid. Okay. Now, some will return to the blood directly on venous side. Okay. Like over here, it will just return on its own. But not everything. The pressure difference is not as great. So then the rest will go into the lymphatic vessel. Okay, we should say capillary here to be more precise. Okay, it's more like a location, right? So lymphatic vessels. And once it's in the lymphatic vessel, we give it a different name. We call it lymph now. And the lymph is gonna go to the lymph node. And then afterwards, it's gonna go back to the blood. Okay, I'm gonna zoom out a little bit for you to catch up. Now is a good time to ask questions if you have any. Okay, so what? Yeah,
Is the lymphatic vessel also like a type of blood vessel?
no, it's not blood vessel because it's not connected to the heart. Okay,
Oh, okay. It's
it's
just a
yeah,
vessel on
it's
its
its
own.
own thing. We call it the lymphatic vessel. Now that's
Okay.
actually a good question because the lymphatic vessel is not connected to the heart, so there is no pump that would help circulate the lymph. And so in the lymphatic vessels, you have valves. You have valves. These are valves. And anytime you have valves, you should know by now, it prevents pooling of the fluid, right? So the valve keeps them going forward. They cannot, move back, and so they don't build up. That's the whole point. Now in the lymph node, we're gonna have some white blood cells. White blood cells. Okay, they just live there. They just live there. They stay there. Okay, so that's it. Finished drawing. Okay, I'm gonna draw some more, but don't draw it. Okay, don't draw it on your diagram. I don't want you to ruin your diagram. I'm just gonna. Yeah,
Question,
sure.
Professor.
Yeah.
I didn't, it's not clear for me, that's why. So this lymphatic vessel,
Mm-hmm.
The function of lymphatic vessel is take the fluid from this what's called
Interstitial
cell
fluid.
tissue, yeah, in
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
from that, and then back to transfer to this capillary.
That's right. It's basically like a drainage system, right? Do you understand we are losing more fluid on the left side than yeah.
Yes.
So
Yes.
this extra has to go somewhere, right?
Yeah.
So we're gonna put them in the lymphatic vessel, and then we're gonna eventually take it back to the blood.
I get it.
Yeah. But why? Why would this be a useful thing to do, right? Like in terms of design, it seems like such a, extra step to have the lymphatic system. Like what's the purpose of this? Okay, so I'm gonna show you the purpose, but like I said, you don't have to draw this on your diagram. It's gonna make it messy, right? So let's say we have a damage. Okay, so some kind of thumbtack comes in. Okay, my favorite kind of damage. And then what happens is, along with it, you've introduced some like bacteria stuff. Okay, and then the bacteria is making all these bacterial products. Okay, so the interstitial fluid that's like washing by the whole time is gonna carry some of these things into the lymph, the bacterial portions, right? The bacterial proteins and whatnot. And when it gets to the lymph node, the white cells will detect them. Okay? So the white cells will be like, uh-oh, we are under attack. We have these bacteria in our system. Let's multiply. Let's make more white cells. And then we're going to go there and clear them out. Right? So having this system is kind of like a surveillance tool. You are constantly monitoring all these lymph that are, collected from all over the body. You're checking to see if there is anything wrong with, between your cells. And if something is wrong, the lymph node, the white cells in the lymph node, they will divide, they will multiply, and all those cell activity makes the lymph node swollen, feels bigger, right? And then they will send the white cells to attack the bacteria. That's basically why we need to have the lymphatic system. Okay.
Vincent, so what was the lymphatic system like works hand in hand with the immune system, like the white blood cells?
Are you asking me what's the relationship between the lymphatic system and the yeah?
Yes, I'm trying to, know what, like, are they like the first step before the immune system starts their own, their own thing?
Yeah. So like the steps are is something we will talk about in more detail next week. But you're right. Okay, the lymphatic system is usually kind of like the first thing that's there to kind of detect something is wrong.
Okay.
Now remember, the lymphatic vessels are not the only part of the lymphatic system, right? In the PowerPoint slides, for example, like we have a bunch of other stuff. We have the tonsils, right? We have the thymus and everything. Okay, so I'm not going to go through those today. I think we've learned enough today. If I if I keep on talking, nothing's going to go in anymore, I feel. So we're going to finish up by looking at other lymphatic organs next time. It's not going to take too long. But yeah, they are there to detect, abnormalities. I do want to show you this picture though, okay? This condition is called lymphedema, or some local people, they call it elephanitis. You might have heard of that. This is when your lymphatic vessels gets blocked, okay? And it can get blocked for various reasons, okay? Maybe they're parasites is a common way that they get blocked. There are these like little worms that can get stuck in the lymphatic vessels, and then it blocks them. If the lymphatic vessel is blocked, you cannot drain the fluid, right? So all the fluid, all the interstitial fluid, the blue stuff that we drew over here, it just builds up. And if it's like in the arm or in the leg, then the whole limb becomes really, really swollen, right? As you can imagine, this is extremely painful, right? And debilitating. You can't move around like that. But unfortunately, in parts of the world where things like these happens, they don't have access to medical treatment to fix the problem. To fix the problem is not too hard, right? You can drain it and then take some medication to kill off the parasites, for example. But it's they don't have access to these healthcare facilities and medical treatments where they're needed, unfortunately. It could also be caused by damage to the vessels, or some kind of inflammatory response, but it's the underlying problem is you're not able to drain the fluid, and once you block the drainage, everything backs up and it builds up, and the limb gets really, really big, right? Okay, that's all I want to do today. Try to have a good long weekend. You do have a quiz for me on Tuesday, but we also have class on Tuesday. All right, so you got to do both. All right, maybe save the quiz until later, in case you have any questions you want to ask me during class. Otherwise, yeah, Tuesday, 12:30. Okay, we'll finish lecture 2 and then we'll start lecture 3. Thank you for coming. See you later, guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you.